All right, good morning, guys. Good morning. Sunday morning. I watched a couple videos. It's noon, right? Not morning anymore. We have talked about collections other than coins because everybody knows in this community, um, people are all different and they all have different lives. They all do different things. Coins aren't the only thing they do. They are not defined by their coin collecting, their silver, their gold, or whatever. So I have, and I am uh, intrigued by knives, always have been. And I know a couple of the guys in the community, like Million Dollar Meg's husband, Tom, he makes knives. And I have an idea how he makes them. But there are other people in this community that make knives. Shiny Man is out there hawking knives. I don't know if he makes them or somebody else he knows makes them. But I got one during the WWP convention or a WWP auction, and I'm gonna tell you what, nice knife. Don't get me wrong. Uh, the guy that made it, and I watched the video that Shiny sent me. That guy has millions of dollars worth of equipment in his shop. I have hundreds of dollars worth of equipment in my shop, and most of it comes from Harbor Freight or whatever I managed to make myself. So, quality is going to be different. However, knives are used for a variety of purposes. One is for personal defense, one can be for offense, uh, war, um, butchering, skinning, gutting. Um, I'm in the process of making one now, and I made one for my father-in-law as a corn knife, or a lot of people call them a machete, but in Iowa we call them a corn knife because that's what they were for, which were chopping ears of corn off the stalk, throw it in the wagon, drawn by horses or a small tractor. That's what it was for. Now we use them for cutting weeds, but the utility is still the same. A knife cuts, period. Whether it's cutting human flesh, whether it's cutting plant material, whether it's cutting animal flesh, it makes no difference. The utility of the knife is still the same. So I'm going to start off, uh, and I said at the beginning that a couple of these knives are knives that I made, but the rest of them were knives that I bought or refurbished. They were blades were made by someone else. And as far as handles are pretty, as far as pretty knives go, um, that's not the most important part of a knife. The most important part of a knife is the blade and how well that blade is made, how well that knife sharpens, how well that knife retains an edge after repeated use, how well the knife is balanced, how it feels in your hand. So, handle construction means something, but the most important part of a knife is the steel. So I also wanted to make sure that I explained the thumbnail because I want to explain my thumbnails. Most people don't understand where my thumbnails come from. What you see on this um, a video thumbnail is a hacksaw blade. It's a commercial hacksaw blade that came from the Oliver tractor plant in Charles City, Iowa. Then they got bought out and turned into White Farm Equipment, and they made the same kind of tractor, you just updated the appearances and everything. Um, and formerly, the Oliver tractor came from the Hart Power tractor, of which there is a museum in Charles City, Iowa, to the Hart Power tractor. And then we went to Oliver, then we went to White, and then we went to whatever it was after that, and they went broke. So My stepdad worked for Oliver for many, many years, 30 years about, and my older brother also worked there when he got out of high school. That would have been my fate had I not joined the Army. So thank God for the Army. God, thank God for the Army. All right, here, let's look at it. Is the first knife that I ever made. This is a combination skinning, gutting, chopping knife because it's a fairly thick blade. Fairly thick blade. Got a little file work for fingers on the top. What I like most about this blade is that I kept that right there so that your finger can't slip up on the blade when you're holding it. Very comfortable blade. Very comfortable. I mean, this thing will slice. Believe me. I do not remember what the steel was for this blade. And one thing I have to do when I handle these knives is I use these Remington gun wipes. I wipe down my blades after I'm done handling them because the salts on your fingers and on your hands will get the blade to rusting. And so I wipe down my blades when I'm done handling them. Kind of like cleaning your guns, just not as it's a really nice blade. And I put it's a through tang, so I put a wrist loop on the back with an adjustable so that you won't lose it. And the thing with this adjustable loop is that you can use it with, you can do this with one hand, but it's very difficult. You hear my wife out in the kitchen dinking around. And then that way, you don't lose it. You put it right back in your hand. Just like that. So that's my first knife. All right, that's the only one I keep in here with the manufactured knives. Put him up there. My second one is one I made for my stepdad back in the day. And now you'll understand the, uh-oh, there we go, open it up. You'll understand the thumbnail of the blade. This is the blade I made for him. This is a combination, I call it a camp knife. It's a combination of a machete and just an all-around skinning. It's a do everything. It'll chop, it'll skin, it'll butcher. You'll notice that the tang is also a full tang all the way through the handle. I think I put Purple Heart on both sides and brass pins. The brass pins are made out of actually out of brazing rod. So they're brass bronze pin. And you'll see that when I drill, a lot of times the wood will splinter on that side. So you can tell I'm not the best at making handles. I hate handles. I really do. I think I'd rather buy scales, and that's what this material is called, scales. I think I'd rather buy them and put them on my blades. because I believe the blade is, again, the heart of the knife. Okay, so put that one out of the way. Oh, put him in there upside down. This case was given to me by someone. There was another knife that came in this case, but it goes in there like that. All right, so we'll set that one down, get that one out of the way, and we'll get this one out of the way real quick. Here's a couple other ones that I found in junk that are actually made by someone else. This one just had this plain wood handle on it, and I find this amazing because somebody made this knife, or maybe had this knife, and their handle got messed up on, so they just put another handle on. It's loose. I don't want to take it apart, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you look on that blade, and let me get my old eyes here if I can find them. I don't know where they went to. Hold up. We'll find them. They're here someplace. Oh, man. Did I bury them? I didn't bury them. Whew. Well, this is a Russell and Company. This is a Green River knife. It's a Green River blade. You can see it right there, the diamond. Russell and Company, Green River work. Yeah, that's a famous knife maker. Went into making knives from his personal stuff, and he did this commercially after a while. So I wanted to keep that knife, but I wanted to keep this handle because that shows the ingenuity of the working man and out on the farm. You just do what you got to do, make something work. That's a hell of a nice knife. All right. Then the next one I have in that genre is this one. This one's got a nicer handle on. I just redid the handle on this one. That's all I did. You see the tang is not all the way through. It's just a halfway. But it's got 2 brass pins in. Nice. Go all the way through. The handle is really nice. Good wood. So I just refinished the wood and cleaned up the blade. But this one, like this one, these are both skinning knives. That's what these are for. These are for skinning hogs, beaver, because that body type lends itself to this type of blade. But look, I don't know if you can see that one. You see what that one says? Old file. It says old file, handmade. Now, who would stamp that on their blade without a maker's mark? I don't know. I don't put maker's mark on mine either. But I just cleaned up the blade, sharpened it, and redid the handle. Those are a couple of nice knives that I have. I like old knives also. But I think maybe the first thing we're going to get to is some of the littler stuff. And we're going to put that all down here for you to look at. All right, this is kind of cool. It's from Eddie Bauer. This case is actually the handle. You take the blade out of here and stick it in there, and then you got a blade. It's just something to carry in your pocket. A little ingenuity. See, it's got a blade, scissors, a little hook and screwdriver on it. It's kind of neat. It just stays in the pile. Just stays in the pile. We'll put that over there. Here we have a Swiss Army knife. I have little ones and big ones of Swiss Army knives. You'll notice this one doesn't have the pick or the tweezers in it, but it's got everything else you need. Scissors, blade, corkscrew, screwdrivers. All right, Swiss Army blades, Swiss Army knives. Something everybody should have in their pocket. Here I have just a regular pocket knife I carried for years. This is my little skinning knife. If I can get a blade out to show you. Just a little blade like that. Just a little blade. This is a Bear. MGC. Bear MGC. It was the Mac Tool Man sold these when I worked as a mechanic for the Army. I got one when I bought a tool or something. So yeah, it's a nice little blade. It's got a short and a long blade, and it's got the little stubby one. And they have different models, you know, they have the Muskrat, the Trapper, the whatever. But it's a nice little blade to have. All right. Then I got another one. Don't like this steel. The reason I have this is because I worked for this man. See what it says on there? Dennis Duo Fur Company, Wellman, Iowa. I kept this one. It was just a gift. I got a Christmas gift or whatever. He gave to people that worked for him. It's a Chinese steel. It's a piece of shit as far as steel goes, but it's because I worked for him for so many years skinning fur, I just kept the knife. It's a keepsake. All right, that's a crap knife. So let's put that one down there. I did keep a couple of these from my time in the Army. These are Jumpmaster knives. I don't know if you know anything about Jumpmasters, but if you got a guy who goes out of an airplane, he gets hung up, static line gets hung up, you have to either tow him back in the aircraft, which is really hard to do. He can sit out there and bang around on the aircraft for a while, or you can reach down one-handed, pick up this blade, and open with one hand. You can open this blade. And it's orange, so safety orange. This was issued to Jumpmasters back in the day. It also has a hook on for hooking onto static lines and cutting them. So I kept a couple of them. They're neat blades. They're a neat knife. And these are made by Camless, I believe. Yep, these are Camless blades. So actually pretty good steel. Pretty good steel on these knives. And as you can tell, I kept two. Come on, left-handed. Oh, man. There we go. Got it. Left-handed. You can tell this was mine because I got a wrist loop on it. Got a wrist loop, so I wouldn't lose it in the aircraft. All right. So we got Camless steel. Put those little bad boys away. Let's see. Speaking of military knives, let's go with these several right here that I kept over the years. These are World War II, Korean era mess kit knives. This would be found in your mess kit with your spoon and your fork. I have several of these. And it's like aluminum handle on a steel blade. And it doesn't say who made these blades. And it doesn't matter. It's the lowest bidder. It's the lowest bidder. And then I have the Vietnam era, the latest one. And you can see It still says US on, but it doesn't have a handle on like the other old ones did. It's just for holding in your hand, cutting your stuff in your mess kit, and that's it. That's all it's for. Does it not real good steel? Doesn't have to be real good steel. Because it's going in a mess kit. It's going in a mess kit, so it doesn't have to be real good steel. All right, I'll put them out of the way. And yeah, I'm gonna knock everything down. Right here. Yeah, my brother finds some gems every once in a while. This is a carving set that he got in a box of junk. I don't know. We actually have the steel for sharpening blades. But look at the handles. I found the handles interesting and intriguing on these. Get a butt cap on. And this is the large fork. What I found interesting about this is that it has that little device on. Now, what would that be for? You stay like that, and you're cutting your roast or whatever, and you can set it down. You can set it down like this on the table, or on the side of the serving dish or the bowl. You can set it there so that it doesn't fall in. It's cool. And then the blade itself, the carving knife itself. Every once in a while, my brother finds some stuff at auctions that I find intriguing. It looks like an antler handle. That's what they look like, antler, but it's darkly, and it might be synthetic, but it's darkly stained. And what this blade says is, there is a name on this blade. It says Henry Sears and Son, 1865, warranted. And you might be able to see it. It's on the blade right there. Maybe I can get this in the light. No, that won't ever work. You can see it. You just can't make out the words, but you can see it's there. Henry Sears and Son. Yeah. What does it say? Henry Sears and Son, 1865, warranted. So that's a cool set. But the shape of the blade intrigued me for a carving knife. And that little device on the serving fork also intrigued me. So I kept that set. Otherwise, he'd have sold it. Then I get old knives every once in a while. And my brother has a few of these. I just kept one as an example. I've redone these leather handles, stacked leather handles for him on several of his knives that were bad that he got at auction or on. He doesn't do an online stuff, so he goes to auctions a lot. So this one is oh man, I wish I had my, and I don't know where it's at, but I wish I had it. We can always use the other one. This is a Schrade Walbin made in New York. This is a number 148. 148. So it's a model 148. And I like this one. I kept this one because of the file work right here, so your thumb won't, it's got some place to sit and rest. A lot of them will have on a finger guard here, will have an extension that comes up here so your thumb can't go any further up there. Sometimes I like to put my finger on a blade like this to skin on the back of a blade. So I have more control of it like that. And I don't like that finger guard that goes up to make a thumb guard. So a lot of times I like these right here, and they're just filed. And it's a thumb rest, and it's filed. It's got traction for your thumb, so you can hold it like that, and you're not going anyplace. Schrade made some nice knives, and there's a history there if you look. My brother has quite a few Schrades, and I can't remember the other name that they went by. But this is the grandpa of that blade right there. This was a company that later became a Schrade. That's this knife right here. When we got this one, I really wanted to keep this one, so I haven't redone the stack handle on this one, the stack leather, because it's actually not in too bad a shape. And when I say not in too bad a shape, you guys look at the handle. That stack leather is not in too bad a shape, considering some of the ones that I replaced. You guys are going to have to look this one up. It's a Cattaraugus. A Cattaraugus. And that name is right there at the hilt on the blade. You can see it right there. Cattaraugus. And there's a number there if you look real close. And that number is 2250. 225 space 0. This is the grandfather of these knives, of these Schrades. And this one's got they call it a blood groove, but it's just, this is a way of lessening the weight of the blade. That's all it is. You're just taking some of the weight out of the blade when you do that. It has nothing to do with relieving the flow of blood or any other shit. They call it a blood groove, but it's not. And I like blades, personally, I like blades that are straight off the tip and a little more belly, but this is okay. I don't like the false edge up here on the top where it dips for a number of reasons. I don't care for that style of blade. But this is a finely made knife, but look at that butt cap on that thing. And you see the tangles all the way through. And one of the pins is missing, but that is a thick stacked steel butt cap. And this one also has just a little bit of a rise right here for your thumb. You see that? It's a little bit of a rise. It's got a finger guard on, yes. It's got a little rise for your thumb. So your thumb doesn't slip up over the blade, but still low enough you can put a finger on it like that. That's a very interesting piece of history right now. You guys can look up Cattaraugus if you want to. That's a hell of a blade there. All right. Then I suppose we could go to another one that the Army gave me. This is a lineman knife. It comes with it's called a TL30 set. It has a lineman's pliers in. This is just a, it's just a blade and a screwdriver. Basically, This is for Army linemen out running wire to go to switchboards and phones. Would carry this in the pliers, and it helps deploy the wire and connect to switchboards and all that stuff. What I like about these, the Army didn't skimp on these. They did lately, but these are also a camless blade on these older ones. I have a couple of them. I have one singular blade, and I have one in a set with the pliers. They're a really good pocket knife out of the set. You know, if you don't want to carry the pliers, it's a really good pocket knife. So I'll put that one up there. Another one the Army gave me. So what do we got for Army knives? We got that one. Oop, we got these. We got all the mess kit knives. Got all the mess kit knives. Let's get that one out of there. We got that one back there. All the mess kit knives. Another one the Army gave me is this one. Well, what the hell is that? Well, it's a Gerber multi-tool. No, it's not. It's not a Gerber multi-tool. It's a Lockbeck. But this one's a particularly nice one. Gerber makes pretty good blade. Carried one in my pocket for many years. That's a switchblade. That's another one the Army gave me. See, it's a Gerber. And it has a safety on it to where you can lock this and you can't open it. You carry it like that. And it's got the nice little saw on it right here. I'm not a big fan of those in all actuality, because when they become dull, it's harder than hell to sharpen them. But and that's why I don't like gut hooks. They're very hard to sharpen them. It's hard to make them. It's hard to sharpen them too. And this actually has a pretty good edge on it for an Army issue knife. But you can carry it in the pouch, or it has a belt clip on it too. So that's one thing the Army did. One thing the Army did that was decent. That's a nice little knife. And you can tell how new this one is. I still have the box with the number on. Knife, combat. And there's the NSN, or the National Stock Number. 1095-01-446-4348. I think you can still probably order them. And not only that, but it comes with instructions. Isn't that wonderful? That's great. Yeah, part of history anyway. It's a good knife. I just don't carry every knife that I have all the time. So there we go. We got that. Those are the Army knives I got. Those are cool. All right. Putting them down here with all the rest of this stuff. I have another one, but it's not here yet. That one costs money. All right. Let's go with some of the other little knives that I have here. Whew. These are some knives my uncle, well, no, let's go with this one first. This is one my daughter gave me for Christmas. It's a Winchester. I would never have bought this for myself, but she thought it was cool. It's a 30-06 shell. I don't have the fingernails to get these out anymore. There we go. Little blade. It's got Winchester on the blade. I don't know who makes this steel, but It's got a number on the blade, 4040515A. So I don't know who makes the steel. Don't care. It's a gift. So I will keep it. Like I said, never would have bought a little blade like that for myself because that's 1.5 inches long. That little blade's 1.5 inches long. Look at it compared to my finger. We have that one. We have this one. Stainless steel on one side, wood, and a nice little outdoor scene on the other side. It's got a deer and woods and blah, blah, blah. These are from my uncle. He had them. This is a Winchester knife also. You can see up there on the blade where it says Winchester, maybe. You can see it. Yeah, right there. You can see it. And this one on the blade actually has some printing. And it's got a number, but nothing else. So it's got a number on the blade. It's made by, it's a Winchester branded knife. I don't know where they come from, but it's a lockback, and that's about the right size that I prefer to carry in my pocket. Then we have the ones that my uncles gave me, and these are outdoor themed knives. I think these are mainly Chinese, but because he gave them to me, I keep them. This is the Wolf, and these are lockbacks too. I don't. Let me see if I can see where these are made, if these are Chinese or not. Yep, stainless China. And see, I never buy a Chinese blade because steel is of questionable quality. But because the knives came from my uncle, I keep them just like that. And then we have the one over here. This one is, the theme on this one is deer. You can see the deer on that one. And they're lockbacks, you know, that's something you could use. And then once it's crap, you throw it away. But again, like I say, because they're from my uncle, and those knives are supposed to have a tin with them, like this turkey. See, they're supposed to have a tin that comes with them. This is the turkey knife. It's got a scene on both sides, blah, blah, blah. Same with the other one. But this is the turkey. And see how they're all supposed to come in tins like that, but he didn't keep the tins for the other two, like a dumbass. If he was here, I'd tell him that, but he's not here, so I won't tell him that. So we got those. Those are the crap knives there. And I think you guys saw the other one. I'm going to show you next. I think I showed you it at one time. We'll get it off the table, though. This is the Cold Steel Magnum Tanto. You guys have seen this before, I think. The Cold Steel Magnum Tanto. Really nice knife. That's how big it is compared to my arm. Here, let's compare it to the Cattaraugus. How about that? A little bit different knife, don't you think? But again, different knives, different styles, different purposes. But the steel, this is a San Mai technique, and if you look at the edge of the steel right there, you see that little line about 1/4 inch up from the edge of the blade? Yeah, right there, you can see that line. That's where the harder steel protrudes from the softer steel. The differential heat treatment is basically what it is. It makes the edge of that blade tough, strong, hold an edge better. But the spine of the blade remains a little more flexible. This is for human combat. This is not anything to do with any kind of animal. Unless you're fighting a fucking bear, maybe. This is for human combat. This is for killing people. And they can all be used for that, but they're not. Here's another homemade knife I found. I don't know. It's a kitchen knife, basically, a butter knife. But I found the handle construction to be kind of neat on this one, especially with this little guard right here on the blade. I've looked and looked, and I can't find a maker's mark or a manufacturer or a number or anything on this. So I know this is a homemade blade, a homemade piece of steel, homemade handle. And it's got brass pins in, but it's got these little round decorative things imprinted. You can see it up the front, right on, up here, that are pounded into the wood. Right back here's one pounded into the wood. It's like a little steel ring. It does have brass pins, one there, one back here, back there, that go all the way through the handle. So mechanically, it's sound. But what is that type of blade? It looks like a butter knife. That's exactly like a butter knife. So I kept it because it intrigued me. And it's a very flexible blade. So you could use it as a fillet knife also, but it doesn't have a point like a fillet knife would have. So I don't know what to make of this one. I never have known what to make of it. But it's a blade that I collected. Doesn't have a sheath. It's sharp enough, so I keep it in that paper. All right, let's look at another one. This one is basically called a boot knife. This is a number 1006. This is that's a Kershaw Amphibian. Looks like it needs to be cleaned up a little. You take a brush to it. A Kershaw Amphibian. So 1006. It's actually made in Taiwan. Taiwanese steel is not bad. It's not something that I would buy. I got this from, I think I found this one. Yes, I did. I found this one in a parking lot at I went to go get some parts for a tractor or something. And I found this in the parking lot as I was walking across the parking lot. So I kept it. And it's got some stuff on the blade. This is stainless steel. It's a diving knife. That's what this is. It's to be worn on your ankle. It's a diving knife. And again, I do not store my knives in leather sheaths because if you do that, you're going to get crap on your blades. They're going to rust. So these will all come out of they're all stored outside of the leather sheath. So that's another one. I do like to buy, here's another one I found. This is another homemade knife and a homemade sheath, by the way. Look at that. Look at how big this handle is. This handle is just a little bitty handle. Can't hardly get your finger on it. That's how small it is. So your finger's up on a blade a little. It's a pretty flexible blade. It's homemade. Couldn't find anything on it. It's got two big rivets through the handle. Blade, full tang. I think it was a little shorter than they desired. It should have been about an inch longer, maybe an inch longer. But they just went with it anyway. It's a homemade blade. It's a good little piece of steel, sharpened okay. I mean, it's sharper as shit, but I don't know what kind of steel it is. But it is kind of neat. It's a neat little blade. That goes back there with those other homemade knives. Well, what I found interesting was it had a homemade leather sheath, and whoever did the sheath did a good job because they sewed and riveted. It's just a single stitch. It's not a double stitch, but did a really good job on it for being homemade. So that's kind of neat. And then I go, or used to go to a lot of NRA turkey deer banquets, and they would give out knives at times. And this is a good set, actually. It's a pretty good set. And this is from Whitetails Unlimited. They have a caping knife, skinning knife, bone saw, gut hook, and another skinning knife. And this is a Browning set. This steel, if I can see it. Oh, it just has a model on it. I don't think it has steel. No, doesn't have steel. No, this is from the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. That's what this is. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And it says Browning. Don't know what kind of steel. I know they're fairly decent knife. So, fairly decent knife. Never used the set. I got it because I'm a member, blah, 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 or was a member. Yep. And it's a really handy set to take with you. Let's say you're going to, you're taking a hunting trip or something. You're going to take a whole bunch of other knives. You got this nice roll-up case. Throw that in your pack, and away you go. And that'll work for a lot of stuff. I get a lot of those knives sometimes. Here's one I bought just to have. It's a Browning. This is just a saw. Just a big bone saw. That's all this is. It's just a big bone saw. And she works, buddy. She works. But I don't want to carry one of these in the field with me to cut through pelvic bones or rib bones. I prefer just a sharp knife, a strong knife, a thick one that will go through those bones without having to use a saw. But I needed a saw at one time. I couldn't remember what it was for. Anyway, I bought one of these. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good blade. But it's a Browning. Blah, blah, blah. I know. You don't want to see these. You want to see the knives. Okay, good. Put that out of the way. Let's see. Do I have any of those other NRA? I got one here. And then maybe we can get into homemade stuff. I got a Gerber here. And you can't tell I like Gerbers. That's my deer knife right there. That's my deer knife. The only thing I don't like about this knife, I like the blade. I like the steel. I like how tough and thick this thing is. I like the fact that it's got a finger guard here, so it won't slip up on the blade. I like the fact that there's no thumb guard, but there is a place to rest your thumb that's cut out. Should be back here a little bit further, but that's okay. I can do that myself back here. The only thing I don't like about this knife is the material they used in the handle. This material in the handle is slippery. I don't like that. And you say, well, Gary, quit putting oil on it. Well, I only do this because the blade is a through tang, goes all the way back. And just keep that from rusting. And see, I have a wrist loop on this one too. So you can tell this is my deer knife. And this is saturated with blood, so it's a little stiff. But that's my deer knife, or was my deer knife for a long time. Gerber makes a great blade. Don't know what they use for steel. I could look it up and find out, but Gerber's a nice knife. Now, what I've gone to as far as a blade goes is this Titan International. That little blade. Good steel, good construction. Couple of nice pins there. I want a decorative pin through there. So there's 3-pin handle, plus you have a hole for a loop right there. That's a nice little knife there. Straight, it's got a place to rest your thumb right there. That's about in the right spot too. And you can hold it like this in skin. They reduced the blade. I think that reduced the weight on the blade. I think it's a little bit for looks. And they took some steel off of both sides, the top of the blade there. They could have left that steel, wouldn't have made any difference. But I think they did that for weight. I think they should have left the weight, but yeah, it's about right there. Yeah, right there. So a little bit back. It should be, I like my balance point right here where the finger thumb guard is. But that's not too bad. If it's a little bit hefty back here, that's not bad because you got more control that way. But I like the tip. I'm not a big fan of the sweep like this. I prefer a blade that goes straight off. And I'll show you a couple here in a little bit. But this is the one I carry in my truck right now. Another nice thing is they have nice leather sheaths. Really well constructed, double stitched, good rivets. Even go so far as to put a leg loop on for you. The only problem with this is that it won't fit a lot of the bigger belts right there. So that's the only problem with that one. I have another one from that manufacturer, but I think it's down below. Yeah, it might be down below. I got a bunch of knives, buddy. Here's one I got from NRA, and nice knife. It's not bad. Not real sure about the steel or where it came from because it doesn't say. But not a bad blade. Good leather. Good stitching. Nice pins. The only thing about this one I don't like is that the thickness of the handle. You see that? Thicker on one side than it is on the other. But it feels okay in your hand. So, and I like the fact that I can go like that. That's the style of blade that I like. About the size I like. So there we go. We got that one. All right. What do we got up here? Let's see. We're going with a manufactured knife so far. What is this one? I don't remember what that one is. That's a homemade knife though. A manufacturer. I don't have some of these. I didn't keep the manufacturer's names on. Oh, here's another one of those Titan Internationals right here. Nice knife. Nice Damascus. I bought 2 or 3 of their knives now. Right size handle. You see how much handle I got right there? Yeah. Plus, it's shaped like this so that your hand won't slip off the back. The wood is really nice. I'm not sure what this wood is, but it's really, really nice. The edges on these knives are phenomenal. This is the style and the size of knife that I prefer for everything. This size right here that I prefer for everything. And that's right there is putting my finger on the back of the blade so I can skin with. That's the size and shape of blade that I prefer. That's me. Now, whether it's Damascus or straight steel doesn't make any difference. I just find Damascus pretty in different patterns. That's a good blade. That's a nicely made knife for a boughten knife, for an industrialized produced knife. And I kept a card on the back. There you go. Titan International Knives. Really good. You know where this guy's from? Algonquin, Illinois. Right up where I used to work. So, hey, there you go. You want a really good knife? I saw him at a gun show, the representative at a gun show. He's been at 2 of the same gun shows I've been at. So I really like their knives. I really like, look at the stitching and the leather work. That, my friend, is good leather. And that'll fit any size of belt that you have. Great snaps. And these right here, I don't know what, you can put something else on there. But cool knife, man. They're really good knives. Do I have another one of their knives up here? That's 2 of them right there. That's 2 of them right there. Here. Yeah, this is a purchase knife too. All right, you guys. I bit the big one. I bought a Hibbin Custom Knives. This is the design series. All right, first off, that's the kind of belt loop I prefer right there. Now this is, you can see it's only a single stitch on the leather. I mean, the leather's nice. The leather's good. Leather work is all right as far as the rivets go, but it's only a single stitch. So, all right, when you buy the knife, just be aware of that. Hibbin does a real good job of all the knives are signed, and that's his maker's mark. And he does on the other side right there like that. Hibbin's a pretty good knife. I don't know how far this tang goes, does not come out the back of the wood. So this is a burned in. So it drops in like that. So it's in case. The only thing that goes all the way through is the hole for the loop, for your wrist loop, and the hole for the rivet. So the tang comes back at least that far, because the rivet's got to go through the tang to make it mechanically sound. And I'll read you what's on a blade. Hibbin Knives, Gil Hibbin, custom design. On the back side it says Hibbin Knives, and it's a GH5084 blah 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 stainless design, UC, China. This is the only Chinese big knife that I have, because it is a Hibbin. But I had to have one, so I bought one. Don't hate on me. Don't hate on me. All right, what do we got here? I'm going to show you these first. These are interesting knives. It comes in this case, single stitch. Yeah. These are made in Iowa. These are called trapper knives, made for and by trappers. I bought this at the Iowa Trappers Association convention, and I wanted them because I wanted them as patterns. Here's the first one. This is a beaver skinner right here. There's the banker's mark there, WF, I believe. Yeah, WF. Pardon me if I don't remember the man's name. But these knives, you'll notice, have this big hole on the end here. And a lot of you guys won't know what the hell this is. But I actually made a 3-knife set instead of a 2-knife set. Same pattern. That's a beaver skinner. That's a beaver skinning knife. Because beavers are like pigs. They have a round body, and they skin out the same way. And you don't want to point. So when you're skinning like this, you don't want to point on your knife, because what that does is it'll put a hole in your hide, and you'll have a hole in the fur, which greatly retracts from the value. So you want a rounded tip like that. All right. He told me what the knives are made out of too. Oh yeah. I'm getting there. This hole, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a long spring trap. Maybe I should have brought one in to show you. But this is the spring off of a long spring trap. And it's just heated, straightened out. And then these two, one of these sets in the base of the trap, and the other one comes up like this, and it holds the jaws closed together. So you compress them, and then that's how the jaws open up and you set the trap. Okay. This is that spring made into a knife. Spring steel is very good steel. Very good steel. And here's the other one. This is your skinning knife for other critters. Got a nice, for me, both of these curves right there are just great for holding that knife. Why? Because the spring is only so big, and so you only got so much steel to work with. And if your handle is too small, so your handle has to be where you can get your hand there. Well, look where most people's hands are in the front. So you're missing some handle there. So what he did was he put those two grooves right there so you could grip it like that and not have to worry about your finger slipping off and going up on the blade. That's a place to rest your thumb. Now, he could have just left that there without putting that groove and put and filed in some on the thumb rest, a grip there. But instead, he chose to make it, what do you want to call it, even on both sides there. So I've actually made a set of these, but I made a 3-knife set. And that'll be in part 2 of these knives, I think. All right. There you go. Trap spring knives made by WF. And I get my hand behind it. Made by WF here in Iowa. Those are trap knives. Made by trappers for trappers. And he's got a nice little belt hook right here. So you'd have to hook this on your side. So you have a hook on your belt, you just boom, hook that on. Just boom, hook it on. This is not something you carry in the field. This is something you use in the fur shop. All right, very good. Let's see what else we got up here. Let's look at this knife right here. And usually I keep. It's a custom cutlery. Custom cutlery. Okay, that's what this one is. Custom cutlery. Don't like the sheath at all. It's crap. It's falling apart. But the knife is really nice. Look at that handle, man. That handle. Through tang, all the way. Nice brass pins, 3 of them. I like the style of blade. Straight off tip. Maybe could have just a little bit more belly right here, but that's a nice knife. Very nice. Highly polished, nice steel. Custom cutlery, and I forget where they were at, but if they're I imagine they are because I didn't keep the name tag on, I imagine they are a more industrialized knife maker. See, I don't like the sheath. The sheath is falling apart, single stitched. The belt loop is small, but the knife is great. So you can always find new sheaths. You can't always find new knives. Let's see. Let's go with, let's go with another Titan International, should we? The big honker. This is another Titan International, but I want you to notice the file work. And this is a big boy style knife, really light. Look at that thumb and finger guard. The brass in between, the file work on this. Look at the handle. Look at the brass spacers, the onyx spacers. It's got a single pin through there. Nice engraving. Nice deer head on there. It's a red pin also. The butt cap is the same material that the blade's made out of. Look at that. Isn't that nice Damascus? That butt cap is the same Damascus. And look at the file work on top of the blade there. Isn't that nice? That's just a superbly built knife. Again, Algonquin, Illinois. You can go online. They have an online presence, and they sell online. They sell at gun shows. They sell everywhere. This is a hell of a nice knife. This is a beefy bastard. You could use this for a camp knife, but generally, this would be used for people. Now, look at the sheath. This is kind of cheesy right here. Those 2 rivets and how cheesy that is, the way it's constructed and gone through the leather right there. I don't like that at all. But the sheath is extremely well made, double stitched, nice leather. It's not hard leather, it's soft leather. And the loop will take any size of a belt, but I just don't like this attachment right here. It's cheesy as fuck. And even this one rivet stands up. You see how that one stands up? I don't like that at all. But the knife is extremely well built, good steel. You can look up what steel is, 1095 and something else. Most of these Damascus knives will use 1095 and then some other steel. And the other steel is what varies. 1095 doesn't a lot. The 1095 steel doesn't vary a lot. I think we need a new. It's a nice knife. And no, again, they don't get stored in the leather. I don't ever envision of carrying this one around on my hip. But damn nice knife. Damn nice knife. All right, let's see. Yeah, let's go with Shiny Man's knife. This is the one I got at the WWP auction. This is the one from Shiny. Really good craftsmanship on his knife. Really good Damascus pattern. Good file work. Really nice file work. Bottom, top, on the finger guard, right here. All the way through the tang. You notice that file work all the way through the tang. And you got bullhorn and what else he say? Giraffe bone, I think. Yep. Bullhorn giraffe bone. That's a damn sweet blade, boys. Here it is. That's a damn sweet blade. Now, my only critique of this knife, and I like how the back here is, so your curve so your hand doesn't slip off the blade or doesn't slip off the handle, is that I prefer a knife. Again, I like this to be straight off, but this is fine. I can use this. I would like a little bit more belly here, like the one I showed you. But my only complaint was this one has a nick right here, right on the tip. That's the only complaint I have, and I will address that problem myself. If you wipe this, you'll catch right there. You see that? You do that on the other side, you won't. There's no catch there at all. None whatsoever. This side there is. There's a little, see? See how that caught that little piece of material? There's a little nick there. I don't know what it is, but I'll take care of that. That's no big deal. But when you pay that much for a knife, you expect it to be perfect. Perfect. That's the way it's supposed to be. All right. The sheath. The craftsmanship on the sheath is good. Double stitched. He's got stamp leather. The way those two rivets fit right there, not bad, but that's the weak point of the whole sheath right there. That is the weak point. I like that. You can get any size of belt through that. But I've noticed that the weak point, most sheaths are right here. Where that attaches, I would like to see that down here further before this was sewed on. But that's just me. It's easy to critique something if you can't do better yourself, you know. I would like to go to a sheath manufacturer and tell them, hey, this is what I want. I tried working with leather. I don't like working with leather. I've made a couple sheets, but hey, they are what they are. Okay, let's look at some of the homemade ones that I bought. This is a 5-inch Hunter, burl walnut, number 37. This is also made by the guy in Iowa, WF. I bought on auction. Now that is a little bit better knife. Burl walnut handle, through tang, 3 pins for mechanical hold. Nothing on the top for your thumb to rest on, though. Okay. I do like the fact that I can lay my finger on it and curve. That's the kind of belly I like on my knife, though. That I don't necessarily like this false edge right here, like a Bowie, like a Bowie style. Don't really care for that. The only reason I would do it would be to take weight off, and then I would do that all the way back to the handle. But that's a nice knife. And I'm going to bet you that this is trap steel also, trap spring steel also, but bigger trap, like a bear trap. And I kept the label on this one because I like that with the handmade knives. I like to keep the handle or the labels on. All right, this one was made by Dustin Johnson. He lives in Willow Springs, Missouri. Did the sheath work, which is really nice. This is a belt knife for personal protection. Look at that sweet little blade. And it's a Damascus through tang. I don't know what the handle is, material, but that's a sweet little blade. That your little finger comes all the way up in like that. You got 3 fingers on the blade the whole time, but that's all you need on this small of a knife is 3 fingers. This is a personal protection knife. This could actually be used as a neck knife. It's that small. But that's nice, man. I bought that from that kid. And it's a number 9. That's what or number 3. What's he got on that? Number 9. It's a number 9. So he's good enough and produces enough knives that he has different models. So, oh, that's sharp as shit, man. That's a nice little knife. And the leather work is not bad, actually. I'm sure he buys buys it in sheets and cuts it and then stitches, but that's not bad. And I keep their addresses and stuff on these handmade knives. Then I got another one here from, and this is a Kydex strap on for your, if I can remember how to get that damn thing open. It's here somewhere. I don't know if I got to do that or that or that. I don't know. I don't remember. I do know it's on there somehow. I don't know how to get that open anymore, but yeah, I kept his. This is Josh Keltner from Somersville, Kentucky. A young man that also makes blades. Does a really nice job, man. Through tang. And see, he took some weight off the blade by taking this all the way back. And he did it on one side and not both, if you notice that. But it's good work, really good work. And he does have a maker's mark on his. It's a JK with a coyote or wolf skull on it. You can see that right there. It's kind of hard for you to see, but you notice that he's got a place to rest your finger here instead of having a finger guard. So he's got a place to rest your finger and nothing for your thumb up here, but that's okay. For that small a knife, you don't really need it. That's another really nice knife. I really like this one a lot. He did a really good job on this blade, on this knife. The size of the knife I like. That's as much belly as I like on the tip right there, right here. I like that much belly. I like this to be straight off, but this one is fine. I like this. That's just a great knife, man. I just don't remember how to get that goddamn thing open here. Because it just clips onto your belt. God damn it. I just can't remember how to do that. Huh. Don't remember how. Okay, put him away. And then the other one I got here, this one has a card that goes with it. Village Blacksmith, Roger Townsend. This one was made in Charles City, Iowa. I think I bought, no, this is a different knife. That one doesn't go in there. This is another NRA knife, but this is a Silver Stag. Charles Townsend, where'd that knife go? I don't know. So it's in a different sheath. This is also a commercial knife here. This commercial knife. See, it says Silver Stag on it. It's got a gut hook, and it's a skinner, and open up the guts with it. Who's this one made by? It's made in, I don't know. I think this is a D2 steel. D2 steel. So every once in a while, they have good knives. The China shit I throw away. You know, you get with memberships and that kind of crap. But at the conventions, dinner, sometimes you can get some really good knives. So, all right. Ladder pattern Damascus. I wonder where that one went to. I wonder if that's a different knife. Nope, not that one. Well, I'll have to look. Because obviously I got one knife in the wrong pouch. But it fits in there, so that's the way where I put it in. All right, let's see. Let's go with a couple other ones. Here's one I bought from an old man who makes knives up in Idaho or Utah, one or the other. And he had this one listed cheap because nobody wanted to buy it. It's I mean, he has a maker's mark on it too. He's a 70-some-year-old gentleman. M-I. You can see it on the back side a lot better than you can see it on the front side. I am right there. And he has it on the front side too, but not as clear. Nobody wanted to buy this knife because of the ugly green, whatever it was he used as a handle material, scale material. Just ugly green. I said, I'll buy it. I think I paid $65 for this knife. This is a thick blade all the way through. I mean, he's got 2 brass pins for a mechanical hold, and I'm sure it's glued, but because most of them are. This is one heavy chopping son of a bitch here. And it's not that he didn't want to finish the blade, up here. He didn't want to polish that up. That just adds to the nicety of that knife, I think. Look at that. That's a wonderful blade. And let's see where the balance point on this one is. Yeah, it's right there, right at the finger guard. And the reason that this is shaped like this is not only it's got good grip in your hand, but that also reduces the weight back here, because look how thick that tang is. Tangs are generally not as thick as the blade. Sometimes they're a step down, but it's right there, man. That balance point is just right there. It's right here, man. That's where the balance point should be. That's a nice knife. Now look at his sheath. Good quality leather. And he did a nice square stitch up here. And it's a double thread. And the stitch pattern is different. But look at this. This is stitched on the leather right here. See, this whole part is part of this whole leather. And then it's just folded over and then stitched through. That, my friend, and see, this is all part of it too. There's no mechanical add this later kind of thought. This whole pattern just laid out as one big piece of leather. I like this a lot. A lot. That gentleman did a good job, and I think I stole that knife. In my opinion, I think I stole it, but that's what he wanted for it. I offered him more, he wouldn't take it. That's what I like about that. Some of these knife makers is how real of a person they are. This is a nice knife, man. Just wonderful. Don't know what the steel is, but it's an awful nice knife. All right. Then I got another one here. And you might see a pattern here. How I like this green kind of stuff. This is bone here. I know this. This is also a Russell knife. Just doesn't have the maker's mark on. I found this one in a pile of junk. And I'm going to tell you what, nice knife. Something you would use in a butchering room, basically. It's a boning knife. But it had a nice leather sheath. Good stitching. It'll fit any size of a belt, and it was all one piece of leather. You might see and that's how that one fit in. So I don't know. That's a nice knife. Doesn't have brass. It has steel pins that are mushroomed over. It's a really nice knife, as far as I'm concerned. Got it for $1 or $2 in a pile of junk. It's a little flexible, not bad. You see how thick that one is? So it's a boning knife. That's what this is. It's just a boning knife. But it can still be used to skin and gut. It's just a little more cumbersome that way. For this style of knife, or for what this knife is intended for, that straight off, that belly, that's perfect. That's perfect for what this is for. This is a boning knife, nothing else. It can be used for other things, but that's the style right there. All right, then I have a couple of K-bars. And I didn't put them up there with my military knives because one is, one isn't. This K-bar, and you can see it says K-bar on it right there. I'm starting to get a pile of knives here. I'm going to have to start moving them out of the way. You can see it says K-bar right there. USA, blah, blah, blah. This is a model 1207. But this is not what you, it's got the blood groove, and it's got the little clip point. It's got finger thumb guard. Yeah, normal. Stacked leather handle. It's got this aluminum pommel. And it's got the red and white black spacers. I mean, all pretty normal. It's got finger grooves there. See the spacers, aluminum pommel. I'm sure it's either brass or mild steel. Yeah, it's brass finger guard here. But it's a good steel, but it doesn't look like your normal K-bar, does it? But this is what that Cattaraugus eventually evolved into. That right there. All right. And the sheath is junk. I mean, it's functional. Not the best thing in the world. But everything's one piece of leather. And the belt loop is right there. So you just raise it up and throw your belt through there. but it only takes certain size of belts. That's it. And then this piece right here, if you notice, is riveted on. It's not one piece like that other homemade one was. All right, so you got a K-bar there. And I bought this one, it's 1228. 1228. That's your normal, what everybody thinks of a K-bar handle. This one came from the NRA, and it's signed and all that other shit. But this one's a K-bar made in Olean's, New York. That's what everybody thinks of a K-bar when they hear K-bar. That's what they think of right there. That style of a knife. And this one's prissied up for the NRA and all that shit, but good steel on this one. So that's why I have this one. Like I say, some of those auctions and dinners, you will find that you get some good blades. The membership knives and that stuff to entice you, those are crap. But there, two different styles, both K-bars. I mean, what? Two different styles of knives, but they're both K-bars. One's made in Olean, New York. This one's made, doesn't say, it just says USA. So I'm assuming there also. Some of the old K-bars are made in, you can look up the Canada, I think, or Germany had German steel. And don't be fooled. There are some German steels that are really good, and some Japanese steels that are fantastic. I wouldn't buy anything made in India, Pakistan, or China. I wouldn't buy that. Someone gave them to me, okay, but I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to spend money on them. Those steels are generally junk. What I like to buy are knives that are handmade. Here's another one. And now, he didn't come in this case. I can buy knife sheaths. This one was made by James Blessing in Shawnee, Georgia. Now, this knife is a different style altogether. I like the style. I just don't find it real functional for anything other than in the butchering room. But yeah, it can be used on people too. I forget what the style is called, but it's a, damn, I can't remember the style or what it's called. I'd have to look it up. So many different styles of blades. But look at, and I got tape on it, but if you look at his hand, that's burled walnut. And he's got pins, but they're covered by wood. He's got wooden plugs that glued in there. He's got a hell of a nice, he's got liners in the handle, white liners there, make that pop out a little bit. That's nice. I like that. That white and black liner in there. He added a little bit of beef right here to the end, kind of flares out. That keeps your hand from slipping off also. Right side, that's the right size of handle for me. There, that's what a balance point on this one is. Just forward of the handle a little. I hate to tell you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that's a nice knife. And it is sharp as fuck also. And this sheath is just one that there's a guy locally that makes sheaths. And so I will buy several at a time. And I'll find the knives to fit them. I've done that with several knives. So Here's another sheath that Papa made. I call him Papa Smurf. He's an old buckskinner, and he makes sheaths, and he does a damn good job. See how that one's attached, sewed right there. Well, the sheath itself is single stitched and rivets, and whatever you use for a liner is starting to come out. My knife pokes through right there. So I actually put this knife in here. This knife is not made for that. It just came in a box, so I put it in this just to bring it up here. But you see on this knife, and what is this one? This one is a really nice one. It's K. Hansosha and Company, Hanssotia, Sosha, Hansosha, K. Hansosha and Company. Nice knife. And I don't know where the box is at for this one. Really good steel though. And I don't know what this little hole is right here, and finger guard is for. The thumb guard is just a place to rest right here, your thumb, and you see the humps. I like that. And this keeps your thumb from going forward. That's nice. The rivets are screw together rivets. The handle material is kind of a rubberized, black rubberized handle material, but very, very non-slippery. I don't know. I haven't gotten blood on this one yet, so I don't know if that would affect the slipperiness or not. But you're getting toward a dagger type point here. If that belly wasn't on there, it'd be a dagger point, be a dagger point. And you see this thinness right here? That's where they took weight off the blade to balance it a little bit. So whereas the balance is right there, just forward of the handle, just forward of the finger guard. It's a nice knife. I like it a lot. It came with a little wrist loop. I'm not really sure what box that came in. I don't know. I should probably. Oh, I got one more manufactured knife down there. And here's one of Papa Smurf's other sheaths. Style's the same. Here's another one. Just a wee bit smaller. I don't know if it's a wee bit smaller. I think I got a set of these from something. Same knife. I got a set of them for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, but good knives. I mean, you can't. I got a deal on them or something. I don't know what the hell. Why I have two of them, but I have two of them. But I have two of them, so I don't know why. All right. Then we have an OKC knife. And this one this is a battle knife here. This has everything you need to go with it. You got your sharpening, got a sharpening stone in there. See that? That's a Norton sharpening stone. This is something you would put on your kit going to battle with. You got the holes down here for a leg loop. And you have this snap here. You can pull this off in several different spots for different size of attachment points. This is also an NRA knife, but this is it's an OKC. It's called RAK. RAK. RAK Ranger Series. This is Ontario Knife Company. They make some fantastic knives. Some of those other knives are Ontario knives. I forget which ones. The ones I started with. Some of those are Ontario steel also. This is good because it has right ahead of the handle before the blade, you have this place to put your finger so your finger won't slip up on the blade. You also have a nice thumb rest right here, which is in the right place for where that finger is located. If you have your handle back here or your hand back here, then you have a finger guard right there. And you can still put your thumb up there. I'd like to see that further back a little bit back there, but you know, and it's got a skull crusher and a place to put your wrist on. This is a battle knife. This is for killing people. Oh, that's really sharp. This is for killing people. Caution, sharp knife. Yeah, no kidding. But that knife is great. I don't know why. And that comes in a nice box. Got barcodes on and everything. Ranger Assault Knife, RAK, Ranger Assault Knife. That's what that stands for. I just thought it was a Ranger series, but Ranger Assault Knife. That is a wonderful knife. That's a great knife, man. Yep, there we go. Ah, you're down. Made by OKC and for the NRA, and NRA put their logo on. OKC, Ontario Knife Company. That's a damn sweet knife there. That goes with my, I don't know here. Oh, here's a silver stag. Another silver stag. This actually is Boneheads. Yeah. This is a local guy. Comes to a lot of our rendezvous and stuff. He makes these knives. However, what he does is he buys the steel and puts the antler handles on. So he does that part, but he buys the steel. So he doesn't make the steel himself. Okay, the silver stag goes with this other knife over here. The box does. This Boneheads is, I don't know where he gets the steel at, but it's a pretty damn good steel. It would have to be for that kind of a pattern. I know you can't see it really well, but it's kind of a raindrop, teardrop pattern. Pretty nice. Pretty nice Damascus. And the sheaths aren't the best. This is the belt loop right here. So it's riveted there, just a piece of leather on there. But you really can't get more than 1.25 inch belt through that thing. So the sheath is kind of shit. The leather is good. Spacer is good. Single stitched. Nothing wrong with the stitching. And the knife guard itself, that's part of the steel. I just wished, or part of the leather. I just wish this right here would have been part of the leather and then sewed, but folded over and sewed. But actually the knife, the latch here is really kind of tight on this leather. to get it latched, you really got to stretch it. I mean, it really's got to stretch. So it's just kind of in the wrong spot. You see, just kind of in the wrong spot. So that's the only thing I didn't like about his knives. I didn't like the fact that he just bought the steel and put it together, even though it's good steel, and then just put the handle on. I bought one just to have one and see what his knives were like. But there we go. It wasn't something, I wouldn't buy another one, but I got this one. So there you go. Wouldn't buy another one, but I got that one. Then what do I got here? I'm going to take some of these knives and put them down there on the floor. Get a box and take them all back downstairs, put them in a safe. This is a Camelus Western. Comes in a set. This is a Whitetails Unlimited knife. Let's take this out. It's got a sheath with it. It's a cheap sheath. At least you can get a belt through this one. It's a cheap sheath. I never take that out of there. And it does come with operating instructions and all the pertinent information you're going to need to know about the knife and everything. But so it's a purchase knife again. But it's a I think it was my Whitetails Unlimited when I was a member and going to all of the banquets and everything. But this is also Western. It's a Camelus steel knife. How far the handle goes up in there, but I'm sure it goes up at least that far. You got a hole for a thong, and this is just a knife for skinning deer. That's all this is, man. This is the right size for a deer skinner. But if they'd have left the steel here and just brought that straight like that, just left that steel, that gut hook is junk. I've made some knives with gut hooks. I don't like them. I know there are guys that swear by them. But this is the right size of knife for skinning deer. Looks like you got a little junk on there. That's what happens with knives. You got to oil them every once in a while. Kind of like a gun. But it's got that nice orange neoprene handle. Really non-slip. You got a little bit of finger guard there for your thumb, for your finger down here. I'll put all your fingers in. And the only bad part of putting finger grooves in like that is different size of hands. A lot of times there are different size hands won't fit those grooves and it's uncomfortable for them. For me, this one fits me perfect. And I don't like buying industrial made knives like that, factory made knives. But the thing is, this is a Camelus and it's good steel and it fit me. So that's that one. Leave that one in the box. And then I have a Puma, and they were bought by SGB. It's a German steel. And you guys can see SGB, Puma, SGB, they were bought. Puma was bought by SGB. All right. Here's the knife and the sheath. The sheath is a decent sheath for a commercial knife. Stitching's okay, single stitch, very small, couple brass rivets, but I do like that the belt loop is all one piece of material. and it is sewed right here. Nice square X pattern sewed, but inside of the sheath instead of on the outside of the sheath, which helps keep this knife in the sheath, seeing as how there is no strap around it. So it keeps it tight and it won't fall out. I like that. All right. Then the other thing, got a nice brass bolster and finger guard up here. It's got antler handle. It's got nice brass pins in. It's got a hole for a wrist loop if you want one. What I like is that's the right size for me for skinning. I do like that blade belly right here. I like that amount. If this would have been straight off instead of taking that little false edge right to, they look cool, but they just don't serve a purpose other than looking cool. But this is a damn nice knife here. This is German steel, Solingen steel. Solingen steel from Germany. And it says it on the blade. German steel, you can see that. I have some other knives that are Solingen steel, but that'd have to be for another time because we're already going on 2 hours. These are just the knives that I have downstairs. Well, I got one more yet. And this one's kind of special. This one's made by David Attleboro. You see that? The 3 lightning bolts right there? That's on the 12th Special Forces group and shoulder insignia. And then he's got a tab here that says Attleboro Knives on instead of Special Forces. But and it's right here, the Attleboro. The Attleboro straight. And I had to buy one of these when I saw it because it's got a green beret on it. Proudly supporting the Green Beret Foundation, www.attleboro.knives.com. All right, inside of this package, he had a challenge coin. It's the Master Sergeant William R. Hunt Memorial Chapter of the Special Forces Association. Never forget. On this side, it says, that's their chapter logo. That's their chapter insignia right there. Beret on top of Special Forces crest with the 3 lightning bolts, which is the 12 Special Forces groups. Shoulder insignia. So that was cool. And he also has in here a sticker for Attleboro Knives. And there's also this I got to take out and put in a frame. And I got it from the chapter. So, yeah, I got knives. All right, this is the Attleboro knife here. And I don't know how to get this goddamn, there it is. This one slides up. You put it on your belt. You slide it down and it locks. All right. It's a Kydex holder. You got 2 tie down loops, 2 screws through it. These 2 big rivets and screws that hold the belt loop onto the Kydex holster. This is also through the NRA, but I think this was a fundraising deal. But when I saw this knife, I had to have it. So and then he's got his maker's mark on that side, or the Special Forces Association chapter's logo on that side. But this is an Attleboro knife. Not a whole lot of people have them. There are some probably. But this is a Washington chapter. And here I am in Iowa, belonging to the Iowa chapter. And I would like our chapter to do something like this. If we could get a knife manufacturer here in Iowa to put our logo on a blade, and we could do the same thing. We just started this chapter 2 years ago, year and a half. So we're going to have to get a little more organized. I will take and show this to them. And with just a straight off tip here on the back. Don't take any weight off of here. Don't tilt this down, but just a straight off is my preferred blade style. But this one I like a lot. I can handle this blade. You got thumb rests, and I mean it's cut into the handle. It's right there on the top there and on the top here where you lay your finger. Okay. And this is a thinner than most handles, which I like. So I get my hand all the way around this thing. This is a fighting knife, but it can be used for skinning. This would be my preferred knife over that other SOG knife or the SKG, whatever. I prefer this style right here. Real nice for a fighting knife. If this was, if I had to choose any of these to go into battle with, this would be my knife right here. So, yeah, I got other higher end knives, lower end knives. I'll bring in that bunch of knives that I got out in the shed that I made that nowhere near look as good as these, but good steel. Just the handle work needs to be perfected a little bit. So we'll put this stuff in here like that. I forgot to show you on the back side of that. There's a whole story about the Attleboro knife. That's on the back side of this right here. And I should put this in a frame. But it'd have to be in a frame that you could turn so you can see both sides. You know what I mean? It'd have to be clear on both sides. And I don't know how to do that. I have to ask my daughter. She used to work at Michael's. Maybe she could tell me if there's something like that. Okay. That's what we got for knives right now. In here. We're on 2 hours. Yeah, hour and 59 minutes. So there you go, man. I got to read chat. I haven't been reading chat. So I will read chat. Captain Vic, Daryl. Oh, Daryl, man. You kept up, huh? 3 Jack and Jills. Yeah. All right. Survival. Yeah, if it's strictly survival situation, like a downed pilot or something like that. The compass, the saw, matches. Yeah, okay. If you can't tell where you're at without a compass, you shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. Sorry, not sorry. If you can't tell where you're at by the sun, you're just entering association. You're screwed. I mean, that's just the way it is. You need more training. The saw, yeah, I don't find the saw and the knife to be particularly useful, seeing as how they have little wire saws. You can curl up into a small circle and put in your pack. That'll do a lot more cutting than that saw and the knife will do. The only thing the saw and the knife will do, if that is good, is to cut through like ribs or rib cartilage or um, pelvic bones on a deer or a large animal. That's about the only thing that they're good for. As far as having some matches, matches in the handle of your knife, all right, but that makes your knife weak. The tang of your knife is weak. And that's where all the stress on your knife is at. Let's get this one out of here. All the stress on your knife is right here, buddy. Right between the handle and the blade. Right between the handle and the blade. Right there. That's where all the stress on your knife is at. And you know what the blade looks like. But imagine this thing as a hollow tube with matches in there. Okay, how does that tang, does that go both sides? How does that mechanically attach to the blade? You see what I'm saying? You're making your knife very weak. You're making your knife weak by doing that. Matches should be carried. Um, Matches should be carried in a survival kit, like an Altoids tin, in your rucksack someplace, or in your kit, your vest. Yeah, wouldn't handle. I take you out in my butcher room sometime, stream with my phone, and show you my all the knives I got hanging out there. Those are all just butcher knives that I can get for $10 a piece. You sharpen them constantly while you're butchering. So yeah, I got a Leatherman too, Daryl. Regular Leatherman with pliers in and all that stuff. But that's for everyday use. You can carry that. That one that I have, that Gerber, yeah, that's just a switchblade. And the Army issued both. They issued a Leatherman, and they issued the switchblade also. You have a combat knife. I just showed you my combat knife. My preference for a combat knife. I have several up here, but my preference for a combat knife is this one. And I don't know if you're still watching or not, but it's this Attleboro right here. That's my preference for a combat knife right there. Doesn't have to have steel poking out of the handle to be a skull crusher. This one does, just a little bit. But you have both finger grooves right here on the blade, forward of the handle, and right back here on the handle. So if your finger does slip up, it's not going to run all the way up the blade immediately. Plus, you can hold it like that with your thumb here, or you can hold it back here, finger back here, with your thumb there. You see how they did that? So you have two positions to hold your blade. One is like this, and the other one is like this. And that's the perfect style and length for a combat knife. This Attleboro is the perfect combat knife. Yes, it's got the NRA branded logo on because they auction them off for funds. But that's an Attleboro knife, and it's for the Special Forces Association chapter up in Washington. So that's my idea of a perfect combat knife. You can discuss amongst yourselves what is a combat knife. And this one will attach to MOLLE gear or your belt, which either one you want right there. I mean, it just clicks closed. You've got that much space for everything. And this knife fits in the sheath, in this Kydex sheath, and it locks in. Like that. It ain't coming out, so you don't need a strap around it. You grab it, you pull it. Get this out of the way. See what I mean? Kydex sheath locks in, and it still comes out easily. And I know David Attleboro makes a damn good knife. Good steel. And this one's logoed for Special Forces Association. So I had to have this knife. And I got it. But that's a combat knife to me. Anything bigger than that is too heavy. It's way too wasteful. You know, everybody likes this style of knife for a combat knife. That big heavy bastard there. Now, probably that might be my second choice, but you know what the weight difference is for this sheath, this knife, or that Attleboro? Do you know what the weight difference is? Humongous weight difference. There you go. Now, granted, you can, the way this is constructed, you can attach just to multiple different styles and sizes of MOLLE gear or gear, period. But do you really need a sharpening stone with it? Why do you need a sharpening stone for a combat knife? I don't understand that. But okay, that could be carried somewhere else. This thing is heavy. This weighs a couple of pounds, man. Or that other one doesn't. So I don't know what to tell you, man. I wouldn't choose this as a combat knife. Too heavy. Too big. How about this SGB? Yeah, nice knife for nice size for a combat knife. But this is just too shiny and whatever. And it's not made for combat. It's the right size for combat, but and it's not as heavy. Not near as heavy. There's some other combat style knives. I might take this one. But it's not really a combat knife. I like the size. I like the shape. I just don't like the style. I don't know what else we got up here for a combat knife. These kind of knives are too big. That's a boning knife. I don't know. That style of K-bar I like for a combat knife. The sheath is cheaply made and wouldn't last. I wouldn't take that Hibbing nor the trap knives. You can throw them down there. We can throw most of the stuff down there. I got to come back and put it all in a box. Now this old Cattaraugus, this is the right style and size for combat knife. It's fairly light. I mean, it's heavier than I like. It's fairly light though. I could see using this one as a combat knife. The only thing I would do different is take off this one butt cap here and weld on a skull crusher for it. But this pommel right here, I mean, if you hit somebody in the fucking head with that, it's going to hurt. It ain't going to crush their skull. You'd have to do it with repeated beatings, but not the right style for a combat knife. Oh, it's nice and light, not the right style. And that's a Schrade, you know, it would work, but I wouldn't use it. That wouldn't be my first pick. Nope. Not the right style. This one, yeah, that's my backup, go-to backup. What do we got here? I'm looking for that one. Yeah, that one goes in there. Those are pretty nice. Those aren't, what is this one here? I could use something like that, but no, too big. Combat knife. How about a Ka-Bar? See the size difference at the Ka-Bar and the Cattaraugus? See the size difference? And the weight's the same. So why take that big knife when a smaller knife will do the job? This one too big also. Too heavy, too big. Let's see. That one for combat, just for killing and not for survival. That knife will work fine. Good knife, good size, nice lightweight. Good Kydex sheath that won't rot out from you. I like Kydex sheaths for that Gerber. Not a bad knife. I don't like the handle. That would be okay also. The belly on the blade's a little bit too meaty for combat though. If I was in sustained combat and I was just sitting there chopping people coming over the wall, yeah, okay, maybe one of them big Bowies would work. But that is not something I would carry around with me in combat. Here's that Silver Stag right here. That Silver Stag goes in this box right here. It does not go in that sheath, I don't think. That knife goes in there. This is a Village Blacksmith. That's a guy down in Charles City. And I don't have his knife here. Oh, man, I wish I did. So I got to find that knife. That one is just a little personal self-defense knife. Like that a lot. That goes up here with this little Titan International knife. That's the one I carry in my truck. I like the way this sheath is better than that sheath. This one is made for carrying close to your body. The other one's made for hip carry a little bit. All right. As far as combat knives go, if I had to carry one, diving knife works good for combat. If I'm just going to kill something, Not using it for survival. Don't need the saw on top. But hey, you know, it's there. It's a Kershaw. I don't really like Kershaw knives, but I had one. I found it, so I kept it. All right. That one goes down there. That goes down there. All right. I lost a knife somewhere. I don't know where it's at. All right. That's what we got for knives, guys. You asked me my opinion. My combat knife choice would be this one or the Attleboro. I just need a good sheath for this one. That's all. That would be my choice. It's heavy enough. It's long enough. Just a little bit longer than what I like for skinning. I like a little shorter knife for skinning. About that long, right there. About. This one would be better for combat. All around, this would make a good camp knife, a good chopping knife, a good skinning knife, a good killing knife, a good sticking knife. So, yep, this one or the Attleboro. That's what you got. All right, that's all I got for knives today, guys. I got to take all this stuff back down in the basement. These are the knives that are in the basement. I have other knives out in the shed. So we will bring them in. We'll do another vid someday on the knives that I made or that I have out in the shed. I really enjoy knives. I like them a lot. It's about like guns, you know. Different models, different things that they're used for, history. So, all right. There you go, guys. That's it. We'll see you later. Remember, live free or die. See ya.